What up? I was waiting on D to say something.
Oh, no, and I was just going to see what you was going to do.
I was waiting.
Go ahead. Handle the intro, my brother.
Greetings, beautiful human beings out there in the earth. Today, I am Kip the Barber Beefcake. Yes, I am, because if you notice, I had to trim down my Corona beard. It was getting a little crazy. I had to let it go a little bit. I had to get a little trimmy trim going.
You are way braver than me. Hey, what's up, guys? This is Derrick Pierce. Welcome to the Scotland Center Show. So you have to say the name of the show.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Like motherfuckers can't read.
As I said, you have to say the name of the show. I'm not saying that our listeners may be inept.
True, but it's just good protocols, what you're saying.
Just to be on the safe side.
All right, on the safe side, yes. So, what's up, everybody? This is Kip. Welcome to the Scholar in the Center Show. How was that? Did I do all right?
And what about me?
And right across from me is the illustrious, the Sultan of... Nah, see, I'm just going to dive into some wild shit, so I'm going to chill.
You turned into Mr. Announcer. We'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I could have got my, what's the man, Michael Buffer?
Michael Buffer?
Yeah, Michael Buffer is the
or
fucking
Bruce.
shit. Bruce? Oh, yeah. I mean, they're brothers.
Buffer.
They're brothers. Are they brothers?
They wear the same jackets. Yeah, they do. They do. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A lot of shit to talk about.
I'm just going to go ahead and move right into it because we do have a minimal amount of time and a lot of stuff to cover. States are opening up, man.
You know what? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
One, I forgot. Listen, anybody that is watching our show, you are privy to a conversation between two guys. D and I, we're not experts. We're just two guys that think.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, listen, man. All of this shit is just advice. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do.
Okay, so what Kip's referring to is somebody had left a comment in the comments where they belong, in the comments, right? And they correct you or us or something?
Fact checking and shit. It's like, look, okay, cool. Look,
oh, yeah, fact check the shit out of our stuff.
That's awesome.
I don't care.
Yeah.
But I would rather you do.
Listen, just as long as you leave a comment, we will be more than happy to respond. I want all the smoke. I'm responding. I want all the smoke.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, once again, just come on in and enjoy the conversation. Like we're sitting in a barbershop. It's like a barbershop conversation.
Yeah, except I don't have any business in a barbershop.
Yeah. All of this shit is
unless they're doing shaves.
They can do shaves.
Yeah, so anyway, feel free to fact check our shit. If you don't like what we say, fuck off.
Yeah.
Find another more tame Zumba style show to watch. That gives you the illusion of fitness.
Go
and
do
health
some
and
productive
wellness.
Shit with your life.
Yeah. Don't fucking listen to us. What the fuck do we know? Yeah. We're 40-somethings that are still living like 20-somethings.
Yeah, man. Life is good.
Think we know it all.
Yeah.
But I'm cool with that. So don't fuck with my high. Not saying that I'm high.
No, D doesn't get high. He doesn't use drugs.
Right. I may have ventured just a little
You
off
did
the
call
reservation.
Me last week on some wild shit. I was like, D, what the fuck, man? Like, this is a random phone call. Like, it's 1:30. Like, I got old man shit to do tomorrow. What?
First off, you were up. Probably because you had to go pee with your old ass.
Yes. My 40-year-old bladder.
Second off, I may or may not.
Don't say it.
Have had something that gave me a slightly altered state of reality.
Slightly altered.
Yeah, I was still me.
It was still you.
I wasn't drunk.
But you was you on 10.
And I wasn't high.
You was you just wide open. You know how when you get the car and it's redlining?
Yeah.
You was redlining.
Foot was mashed.
Yes. All the way open.
Throttle was twisted.
Wide open.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. So anyway, the short version is, if you got something to say, leave it in the fucking comments.
Just leave it in the comment, please.
And
Love, hate, I want all the smoke.
When I'm in the bathroom on the toilet, I will read it.
It works.
Yeah, and I have about 5 minutes to respond. That's about the amount of toilet time I need.
That's all you need.
You've been on the toilet so long, your legs getting numb?
No.
I have, repeatedly. Usually when I'm playing video games. I don't want to stop. And so I just stay.
In the zone?
Yeah.
In the zone.
Yeah, and then the top of my thought, is this too much?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of information.
I'm just saying, sometimes my legs get numb.
That's a lot of information. Yeah. I mean, like, I feel like you go in, you do your business, and you leave. Like, I'm not trying to get comfortable and check my email and play video games. None of that shit.
Oh, I'm doing all that.
All right, hey, if you are an hour-long number 2 taker because you're playing video games and, video chatting your hoes.
No. That's just not.
Oh, no, that's
the line.
That's the line? Is that the line?
That's the line.
Okay, well, leave it in the comments if you had your legs falling asleep while you were,
Okay, so look, states are opening, except for California, apparently.
Florida is open.
well, did Florida ever actually fucking close?
Shit.
Their shit was fucking bipolar with this shit. We're open. We're closed. We're open. We're closed.
Man. Georgia's open.
Yes.
Georgia's
but I want to start with California for a few reasons.
Okay,
Number one, fuck the world. California is number one because it's where we live. That's not really true, but that's just how we feel because I'm from Los Angeles.
I love Brooklyn too, though.
Whatever. Brooklyn's dying. I'm sorry.
Man, it's rough out there, man.
It is rough. It is rough.
There. Yeah.
No, and in all fairness, we got mad love for New York, especially right now, because I kind of feel like they're at the bit of the epicenter of everything that's going on.
Yeah, well, I think it's the larger percentage of coronavirus deaths and infections are in New York City. The larger, but I think that if you're listening to this and you live in a green state where there's a lot of space, or you've never been to New York, if you've never been on the subway before, then you don't understand how a virus can proliferate through an entire population of people that literally live inches and operate inches from each other. Like, we're supposed to be 6 feet apart. How the fuck are you gonna be 6 feet apart?
Can't get 6 feet apart in Manhattan.
Nah, you can't. You cannot. So New York it's rough over there.
It is.
It's rough, and it's still cold.
And so there's a few things. I've been watching a lot of what Mayor Cuomo has been talking about, and how they're desperate for help. And they've been getting help, but not nearly to the capacity of what they need.
Right.
And I've heard a few of our wonderful politicians basically talking shit.
Yeah.
Like Mitch McConnell saying that if New York don't get their shit together, maybe they should file for bankruptcy. What the fuck is wrong with you?
Mitch McConnell doesn't have a chin, by the way.
Fucking no chin having turtle looking motherfucker.
Yeah.
Take your sorry ass back to Kentucky, which by the way does not contribute nearly to the government what New York does.
Right.
New York, I think they said is like approximately 40 million over, something to that number. I'm sure somebody who's sitting there waiting to fact check.
Get the fact checking,
put it in the
motherfucker.
comments.
Yeah.
I know that I believe that New York is number 3 as far as we'll just call it a donation to the government.
Taxes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
A donation.
Yeah. Taxes.
And so they're always way over what they require each year in return.
Right.
Kentucky, on the other hand, is completely the transverse.
Right.
So maybe
Kentucky's broke as shit.
Mr. McConnell, you should shut the fuck up, take your sorry ass back to Kentucky, and take care of the people that need help there.
Right.
Because you don't seem to be cutting it. Because y'all need money every year. And I feel bad for the people of Kentucky that got to claim you as theirs. You're like that shitty drunk uncle that nobody wants to fucking talk to.
Right.
And when you see him coming, you're like, God
fuck.
damn it, here he comes. Here comes Uncle Mitch.
Old Uncle Mitch. And his
you know he smells like bourbon, right? Like, that's you, dog. That's you. Nobody likes to talk to you.
Yeah, it's like the political landscape is such, it's so unsettling right now, right? Because there's so much shit going on in the world and in our country and in our states and in our neighborhoods, is that it's very difficult to find some comfort, especially in the face of the coronavirus terror that has been, pervasive for the last 3-4 months. Like, how long have we been on quarantine now?
I don't know. It feels like forever.
It feels like forever, right? Like, it's a very interesting time to be alive.
And now out here in California, we are starting to be reintroduced in phases, which I find interesting in general.
Right.
I don't know that it's the right or wrong thing to do. I am not a doctor. I am not.
Nor do I play one on TV.
Yeah, well, I've played a couple doctors. I played a couple patients.
With his balls out.
I played a couple of everything.
It works.
Yep, just swinging. Yeah.
I mean, it's in the job description.
Yeah.
It's what you do.
Teabagging.
Yeah. Teabagging even.
Right there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Just like a little dunk. Just hold them.
Dunk like donuts, but we're going to get all the way demonetized for this little exchange. You understand that, right?
You started it.
I started it. Yeah, I did start it. Yeah, sorry.
I was trying to be proper.
Yeah, I got to remember not to even take you to the edge, because you are always more than happy to jump your motherfucking ass off the edge.
100%.
Just dive.
Head first. Shallow end.
Tag it.
All about it. So anyway, California is starting to be reopened. Apparently, in San Diego, the beaches were open, and that went okay. And so OC, they lost their ever-loving fucking minds.
Right.
Whether I agree or disagree is irrelevant.
OC is Orange County, by the way.
And apparently they were out there, I don't know, licking doorknobs on public restrooms or some shit like that.
Some dumb shit.
And then Gavin Newsom was like, whoa, y'all can't handle this level of responsibility. Right. So now you're grounded.
Please tell them who Gavin Newsom is, please.
Gavin Newsom is our slick-looking very dapper governor who actually is well spoken, and I think he has some really good ideas. This is not necessarily one of them, in my opinion.
Right. I think that one thing happens is that when you talk about Orange County in comparison to Los Angeles, there's a lot of affluence in Orange County. Like, don't get me wrong.
Just say white folks.
I'm trying to find a euphemism
for white folks.
There's a lot of rich white folks in Orange County. Don't get me wrong, there's a bunch of rich ass white folks in LA too, but it's different. Like, if you were in Orange County, even the layout of the city and the streets in some neighborhoods is way, way different. Like the design of those suburbs happened later on, whereas a lot of LA shit is like right on top of each other. So like, I feel like the pressure of reopening will always hit an affluent neighborhood first, because they pay higher taxes and they can put more pressure on politicians and so on and so forth. Right. Where if you in the hood, they be like, stay your motherfucking ass in the house.
Open when we open, bitch.
We open when we open, right?
Yeah.
So
I get it. I understand.
This is
I don't agree with it, but I understand. But so what I've noticed, and it's kind of some stuff we were talking about the other night, and I noticed that there's a lot of discrepancies, not just in Cali, but across the country in the stay-at-home orders, what's allowed, what's not allowed.
What's considered a violation of the stay-at-home order.
And I've even listened to a few, and still in California, we have some areas that are that have law enforcement, which are LAPD or the police departments. Right. And then we have some that are sheriff departments. Right.
And then we have suburbs that have their own smaller police department.
Well, private cities.
Yeah, like Pasadena has its own
private, but it's still police departments.
Yeah, there's still police departments.
But so the reason why I brought it up is there's some areas, police departments don't, as far as I know, fact check, as far as I know, do not have the ability to decide what they are and are not going to enforce. As per a hierarchy, right? Like, so the person above them tells them this is what they have to do, and then that person has to listen to then the government, the state officials, and things of that nature, city officials. When you're a sheriff, you're elected. Right. So that sheriff actually has to technically answer to their constituents, and so when there's things. Chief. Oh, well, no, not police, the sheriff's department.
Right, but the sheriff responds to the police chief, doesn't he?
No. Okay. They're separate entities.
Really?
Fact check. Fact check.
I never knew
but
that.
Separate entities. Right. Because the actual sheriff is an elected official. So their constituents are who elect them. The public elects them. Right. And so there's been a few of these sheriffs, and then hence sheriff departments, who have chosen in certain areas to not enforce things that have a tendency to be a gray area, because or they're actually not a law.
And that goes back to the point about an elected official having pressure of the community to allow or to turn the blind eye to certain activities.
Right. Like, for instance, social gatherings, or, the not even social gatherings. Let's just say the 6 foot rule.
The 6 foot rule, right.
Which has been a problem.
A huge problem.
In certain areas, which is kind of what we really wanted to talk about tonight.
I mean, let's get right to it, because this always works its way back to police interactions with citizens, right? Yes. And I always understand that when the police
and I would even go, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just would even go law enforcement, because I don't just want to single out police, right? Sheriffs and other entities.
Right. Yes. I mean, look, Sue, you say a sheriff and then you say police. I say they both motherfucking cops. So like in my head, they the same.
I hear you. The same shit. I'm just trying to cover all the bases.
Yeah, like when I see this motherfucker
because we got people fact checking.
Yeah, we do got people fact checking. Yeah. When I see this dude pull up in his squad car, I'm not like, "Are you a sheriff?" No, I was like, "That's a motherfucking cop." Right. It's real simple. It's a cop,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely.
So what happens is when the officer is not a stakeholder in the neighborhood, they don't have any reason to like de-escalate things as quickly or to not cause harm.
Or
they're
maybe
not invested.
They don't know how.
See. This becomes problematic because we have like images everywhere of these officers conducting the stay-at-home order and enforcing the 6 feet rule on this group of people versus that group of people. Like you see a bunch of white people chilling in the park, and police officers are handing out masks and bottles of fucking water, and then you see a huge Jewish community, community
mourning the loss of the leaders.
Rabbi, right. And then there's like hundreds and hundreds of people marching, and the police stand there and they don't do shit. And then you see like 5 black dudes chilling, and somebody's gonna get body slammed, and somebody's gonna get a knee on the back of the head, and it's like, yo, what the fuck is really going on, man? Like, I think that it's so multi-layered, right?
Oh, I agree.
Because think about it like this. We've been in the house for about 2 months, right?
Yeah.
You don't know how long stay-at-home order is, right? People are itching to go outside.
Absolutely.
I almost feel like we're being set up to us. I remember last year, fucking Becky was calling the police on motherfuckers barbecuing.
For barbecuing.
Yeah, remember that shit? Remember last summer? Y'all don't forget that shit, right?
There's not black people in the park.
Yeah, right. And we said
barbecuing is making me really uncomfortable.
So there are two things that are actually happening here, right? People are going to want to be outside, and the perception of a rule that can be enforced is often something that can be used to damage individuals just because you fucking feel like it.
Which is one of the arguments right now about people's civil liberties.
Right, civil liberties
being infringed upon.
Being infringed upon.
But I'm wondering if those civil liberties are still applicable because technically we're in the state of emergency.
Right. See, and this is the type of shit that is not clear. Why?
It's a gray
because
area.
we spent 3 months talk about fear. Like, be afraid, you're all gonna fucking die, right?
Yeah.
Like, the coronavirus is Godzilla and it's gonna smash your fucking town. That's what we talked about.
Sorry.
Hey. Yeah, the coronavirus is this big fucking really again. I wish I had a button that just made you do that shit whenever.
Godzilla.
But the coronavirus is Godzilla is gonna come through and smash your whole fucking town, right? So I think what we end up happening here is, like, in Los Angeles, if you pay attention, when the temperature goes up, people get
everywhere
angry.
New
right?
York, LA,
Look,
everywhere.
Man,
and New York is humid and hot.
Look, you can see somebody in LA and they're just making that face. Like,
yeah. I'm angry because it's
like,
hot.
Yeah, but like, what's wrong, man? What's wrong? It's hot. You angry? No, it's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like,
which is code word for angry.
Which is code word for leave me the fuck alone.
Yes.
So what ends up happening is that we have individuals that are going to be outside, and there's already a precedence for being afraid. And what happens is, a lot of times these police officers will designate an area to be a high crime area, which is true. It'll be a high crime area, but these areas often come with a group of people, like Boyle Heights.
That's good.
Right?
Good segue, buddy. You're learning.
Boyle Heights, right? So there's and Boyle Heights is a largely Latino population.
Boyle Heights is in Los Angeles County.
Yes, it's a suburb of Los Angeles County, right? Boyle Heights is, a very, very brown area.
It's a middle class, but still it's un barrio.
Yeah, but there's parts of Boyle Heights that get close to East LA. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It is this hood in Boyle Heights. It's the hood.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So there's two police officers and one guy. Like, if we was gonna stereotype this,
you're talking about something that happened.
That's right.
On the news.
And
of course.
Oh, of course. Like, are these cops fucking stupid?
They must be.
How the fuck do they continue to do shit knowing everybody's got a cell phone?
Right, exactly.
Like, what? Like, I don't know if you blame the police officer or you blame his employer that did not equip him to be able to kind of deal with the situation. So this Latino dude was complying. He had his hands behind his back. The cop was talking to him, and then the cop let loose a barrage of punches on this kid. And the funny thing is, the dude that was getting the punches didn't fall. He didn't go down on the ground, nothing. One of the major problems I have with this was the fact that his partner didn't do shit. Like, what was happening was not a crime. That bitch stood there and did nothing. Now, she might have been shocked.
Wait a minute.
Okay.
She did like this.
Oh. Well,
it's on the video.
It's on the video. It is on the video.
She did like this.
Right. The dude
in
had
mid-swing.
Dude had enough time to take his glasses off.
They were
on
Oakleys.
The ground, and
they're always Oakleys.
Always Oakleys, right? And then other police show up, and then they tackle dude and they take him away, right? No questions asked. It's like, what the fuck?
One thing that stood out to me in this one is not that the cop was teeing off on homeboy when
teeing off.
Yeah, but not only that, and then not the fact that the dude had his hands behind his back, right? He was compliant. Whatever he was saying, you don't know,
right?
But
we couldn't hear what he was saying.
Physically watching, he was nothing but compliant.
Yes.
Right? But I think what pissed the cop off, I think the cop thought he was going to drop his ass.
Yeah, because he hit him and dude didn't budge. He ate the punches.
Didn't even wobble.
Yeah, it's a pow. I was like, motherfucker.
Yeah, and then proceeded to hit him a good 15 more times.
A bunch of punches on him. And
I think he stopped because the cop looked, quite frankly, a little chubby to me.
Right.
And
he probably got a little winded.
Didn't drop homeboy.
Yeah.
And then when the dude was trying to bear hug this gentleman, realized that he was giving up about a good 4 inches in height on cat.
And about 40 pounds or so.
And so what I always think is what happens to me and probably happens to you is a lot of cops who are maybe not our stature.
Right.
Well, as again saying cops, law enforcement who are not our stature have a tendency to be a little bit nervous.
Right.
And
because like once again, these people want to go home to their families. And
do you think that's what goes through their mind?
I think so, man, because like what we're talking about is stereotypes here, right? And so if that police officer that was punching that guy was a white person, everybody would be screaming racism.
Right.
Everybody would be screaming racism, right? And I think...
Yes, 100%.
Yeah,
100%.
And I'm still screaming racism, even though it was a Latino person, another Latino person, right? I'm still screaming racism because racism is far more complicated than just looking at a person and saying, okay.
I will disagree with you on one thing, and that is everybody wants to go home to their families. Yes, that's inherent. Mm-hmm. That cop was not defending himself.
No.
That cop, that police officer, that law enforcement agent, okay, was doing nothing to defend or protect anybody. To me, that was a show of force.
Right.
And it was, you will comply to the level that I expect you to comply.
Yeah, because I have this badge on.
Because I am the authority.
Fucking Batman utility belt.
And by you not dropping to your fucking knees when I punch you in the face, you are now...
Oh, yeah, you need some more. I'm going to give you some more of this medicine to make
you're going to get some more act right until you act right.
Until you act right. So the reason why I still call it racism, right, is because when these... police officer, when this law enforcement actually say that, you know, these are the individuals that live in this neighborhood, the cop makes a decision that he is blue before he is black or before he is white or before he is... So what ends up happening is that what we just did is racially profile the individuals that live in that neighborhood as being the ones that are going to commit the crime. Hence, I can treat them accordingly.
Right.
This is the type of shit that happens when this police officer doesn't live in this neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Right? So, like... In my opinion, I feel like there has to be another body, right? Another governing body. A checks and balances. Because remember, you know, people like to say that the Black Panthers were a terrorist group or a gang. That is ignorant fucking shit, by the way.
You know what? I don't shoot me. You don't have a gun, do you?
No.
Long gun?
No.
Nothing?
No.
Just checking.
We're going to get to that shit too.
Knife?
Nah, I'm unarmed.
Don't hurt me.
No.
I don't know the technical term at that time if they were within the realm of what a terrorist group could have been labeled. And I'm not agreeing. I think Black Panthers is what was needed at that time.
Right. But I mean, terrorist groups don't do breakfast programs to feed.
Sure they do.
Terrorist groups feed hungry children.
Depends what you call a terrorist group. Listen, you could make the argument that
Al Qaeda is feeding children in the neighborhood
in their communities. You bet your ass they are.
Okay, hey, I guess I don't know shit then, right?
Listen, I'm saying if I'm not.
So listen, if we took the guns away from the Panthers, right?
Yeah.
Because remember the like know your gun laws was a very important thing. Like this is an action of your civil liberty as an American citizen, right? So if they don't have guns, are they still a terrorist group?
And that's what I'm saying is that I'm talking about the letter of the law, because if you can label the Black Panthers a terrorist group, which you might have been able to do legally, then you also have to label law enforcement.
That's right. That means you have to label law enforcement, the police officers,
because
they
elicit certain types of activities that are reminiscent and reflective of those. Where do you think the Black Panthers were learning their activities from?
Absolutely. And now once again,
they were policing their own neighborhoods.
We're not talking about because a lot of times when it comes to these larger police departments like the NYPD and the LAPD, like a lot of the some of the social outreach things that they do it gets kind of glossed over, right? It does get glossed over. Like, you know, at my school, we have these police officers that are mentoring these young kids, these young brown kids, these young black kids, and that stuff is beautiful. But what I'm talking about is a group that is paid for by the city or by the state, that is a community organization that can de-escalate a problem. That can de-escalate a problem, and the police are the last call. Like, if
right. Well, they're the last line of defense.
They're the last line of defense. Like, now all talks have broken down. There's nothing to go from here. Like,
see, you haven't been to our club meetings. When we used to have the club meetings at my house, I have cops that come by my house. Now I don't live in the hood,
right? But
I'm hood adjacent,
right next to the hood.
Yeah. And I know those cops for a multitude of reasons. Number one of them is one of my very, very close friends who was kind of like a little brother to me. I taught him martial arts and his family martial arts for many years. Now he's a police officer in my neighborhood. So he comes by and he politely harasses my brothers outside, and they're like, "Hey man, there's some cop outside for you." And I'm like, "Tell that motherfucker." I said, "Wait, and I'll beat her when I get there." And they're like, "I'm not telling that fool shit."
I'm not telling shit.
But that's because we have that relationship. Now,
Right.
I know that those officers in our community, I see them all the time, right?
Right.
And so I know where he lives. He lives very close to my area. He's policing in our area,
Right.
which then makes him a true, in my opinion, a true civil servant. And I think part of the problem is there's a lot of cops that, police officers, law enforcement, that do it for the right reasons.
Right.
But the ones that are wrong
Right.
are all wrong.
Yeah.
And the additional issue is there's no accountability up the line. They don't have a senior that pulls them aside and be like, "Yeah, do you fucking mind
Yeah.
doing the shit you're doing?" And whoops their ass for getting them in trouble. We spoke about this the other day.
Right.
We both belong to a club.
Right.
If you get into some static with somebody, I'm coming. I'm not asking what happened.
So this is where we run into a problem, right? Because I think that the mindset of people across is across the board is there's a frustration, a seething amount of frustration and anger that's like bubbling up, right? Because what's gonna happen when people just stop giving a fuck about that badge?
Well, just to finish
what's
that,
gonna happen?
to finish that point, right? Is we, our group, and groups like ours,
Yeah, and or groups that are known,
police internally.
right?
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I come to your aid. I'm not asking what happened. If I see that you got a physical problem and you want to get down with somebody, then I guess we all fighting.
Yeah, we all fighting.
But
Yeah.
in the aftermath,
then we'll have the conversation.
and
then
if you're wrong,
right,
we now have a
we
problem.
have a problem, right? Absolutely.
Right?
But I'm not going to sacrifice your safety for the sake of a fucking conversation.
And so that's all I'm saying.
We're not gonna talk about the shit now.
The internal activities
Right.
that a lot of these law enforcement, they don't seem to have an outward version of we took care of
Right.
the problem,
Right.
and then now the problem is taken care of.
Right.
What they always say is we're going to do an internal investigation, which to the public means fuck off.
Yeah, that don't mean shit. Like,
Well, but that also then goes back to the unions that are involved. They negotiate these contracts
Right.
for all of these law enforcement agencies.
Absolutely.
They're all unionized.
Right.
So an officer is not left to their own devices to actually be on paid leave or not on paid leave. It's already dictated in their contract,
Absolutely,
which we've
when they
spoken
sign the
about
contract.
before.
Yep.
So to go back to what the point you were about to make about now, because I am my brother's keeper and I take care of my own family.
that's right.
I feel and you feel that there's a portion of how far into civilized unrest do we go
Right.
before people start becoming reactionary
Absolutely, 'cause
with physical activity the same way that law enforcement does?
The same exact way that law enforcement does, because this is always about protecting the man next to you, right?
Because that's always their argument.
That's always the
He
argument.
was resisting or
He
she was resisting.
He had a gun.
I
Like,
feared for my safety, so I did what was
man.
necessary.
There's such a huge precedence for, like, I'm gonna do the yellow. Like, we can go down the list
Right.
of in the last 10 years how many black people were murdered and maimed and just beat to death by police officers because the cop said I felt threatened, right? And then we have those issues or those individuals that actually really weren't threatening, that were complying. Like,
So I wonder what happens if this guy who in Boyle Heights, right, who then responds with self-defense,
right.
and ends up killing this police officer, and his defense is the exact same as the cop's defense.
Right. So you know what? Like, I'm really glad that the man in Boyle Heights didn't turn around and punch back. Because if he would have turned around and punched back, the female cop would have had to jump into that fight. Now,
Well, she wasn't jumping into shit.
No, she wasn't jumping into shit.
That
but
bitch was like
she was
5'5" on a good
"Shit."
day.
So, but what I'm saying here is that it would have turned into a mauling, because those cars pull up fast. And
Yeah.
when those cars pull up, those other officers jump out. They don't ask no questions.
Right.
They respond like a fucking gang. It's the same shit.
Oh, the mentality's the same.
And see,
And because what I've always said is, first and foremost, officers don't see colors.
they see blue.
That's the only color they care about.
Right.
When they jump into the fray, you might be a black officer,
Right.
you're in a blue uniform. I
Right.
might be a white officer, but I'm in a blue uniform. So the first color you see
Is the blue.
and that's
Right.
who you're going to defend primarily.
And the designation of who is the criminal or who is more likely to be a criminal is
The
based
person
on
that's not in the blue.
Is the person that's not in the blue, but it's often based on race. Remember we said
Sure,
this before.
yeah, I agree with that, 100%.
Not even often. You get racially profiled. Oh, I get racially profiled all the fucking time. But
I get racially profiled too.
you do?
Yeah.
What's your profile? What do they say?
They don't pull me over. I'm racially profiled that there's nothing wrong with my fucking license or my registration, or that I don't have a knife in the glove box and a gun in the trunk. Yeah, I'm racially profiled that there's nothing illegal going on about me.
Like we talked about you driving around and being a registered gun owner, right?
Yeah.
And to be perfectly honest with you, there was little difference between you and Philando Castillo. Philando Castillo was the registered gun owner that worked at a school, like the prototypical good American guy that was shot in the car with his girlfriend and his baby, his 4-year-old.
But where was the gun? 4. He had it on him.
He didn't have it on him at all. It was,
he
didn't have the gun on him at all.
At all.
He explained to the police officer, I own a gun or I have a gun, and it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like, bro, so this disparity, see, you know what happens, right? If we're talking about taking a large area, right? My thing is, I think we should make these large areas very much like small towns, right? Like we said this before, if you are a deputy or a police officer in a small town and your child goes to school at the high school there and you end up at the PTA meetings when little, Billy is acting a fucking fool, you know who Billy's mom is, you know who Billy's dad is. So speaking to Billy, you can be like, Billy, what the fuck are you doing? Billy, I'm gonna tell you mama, Billy, but that's not what happens, right?
Right.
What happens is now Billy, you don't know his fucking name. He's a stranger. He looks like the profile of the individual that's doing some dumb shit. So my first recourse is to grab my weapon because I want to go home to my wife or whatever the fuck he's thinking, right? Because, he's scary, right? And you know what happens in our neighborhoods in Los Angeles is that if you even look how the gangs are laid out, right? They're laid out by streets. They're laid out by areas, right?
Of course. That's your area. This is my area.
You got 40s, you got 60s.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's laid out by area. You can actually look at a map of Los Angeles and look at the blocks. It's like that in New York. It's like that everywhere. This is my area. And I was thinking, like, what if that area had its own little policing group?
But technically they do.
But those people that are police there are not fucking stakeholders.
You're right. I do understand that. Some are, some are not.
Right.
Now, in all fairness, I've met way more law enforcement that are part of the solution than the problem. The issue is the ones that are the problem don't get rectified for a numerous amounts of reasons.
Right.
And so my feeling is if you want to change the way that these communities are policed, then you have to change the way the unions are able to negotiate these contracts.
Right.
You have to. And I've said it on many, many times before that if you want the best, right, the highest quality of a pool of opportunities,
right,
then you have to pay the best.
You have to pay the best, right.
So why can't police officers start at $250,000 a year or $300,000? And same thing with education. Right. Why can't educators start off at $100,000 a year, $200,000 a year?
So what ends up happening is that, Dr. King said an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, right?
Because if you let it happen once, then what's to stop it from happening multiple times?
And I think what one of my focuses is that kind of bothers me is how, like, if we were to transition from what happened to Boyle Heights, right, to talking about Ahmaud Arbery, like,
yes,
Ahmaud Arbery is problematic on so many levels, right? Like, because I'm sitting there,
throwback.
It's throwback. He was lynched. Fucking lynched, right?
And the equivalency, for sure.
And the worst part about Ahmaud Arbery being lynched, right, is that when you watch, there is a videotape of a 25-year-old black man being murdered, shot, murdered, killed,
hunted.
Right? Yeah, hunted, fucking hunted.
Well, he got shot with a hunting rifle.
Yeah, man. So what we have here is, there are three people. There's a father, he's like in his 60s, and a son, I think he's in his 30s or so. And there's a driver holding a fucking cell phone. Like, how do we even have the video, right? The reason why we have the video is because they uploaded the video. They're bragging about murdering the citizen. And for me, what really, really bothers me is it's not everybody's problem. It should be everybody's problem. Everyone should feel offended, right? And if we're talking about white America, like, they're more than happy consuming black culture, more than happy consuming, but they're not about rectifying or helping black problems. That is sickening, because if we were all fucking purple, right? If we were all plaid, right? And you see a plaid dude shoot down another plaid dude, you would like, yo, that could be my cousin, or that could be my brother. Like, how the fuck am I supposed to feel comfortable? Right? Am I supposed to have some black anxiety now?
So like, if you take out the ethnic backgrounds of these activities, right? Which, I mean, I'm just doing this for the sake of the conversation, not because it means anything else, right? If you take that out and you apply it to society on the whole, especially in today's day and age, do you think that one of the biggest problems is that people feel like it's not my problem, it's a problem over there?
Yes.
And ill regard of race or color or ethnic background or religious beliefs. It's like, dang, they killing the Muslims over there. It's a good thing I'm a Christian.
And
so on.
And then we get these individuals that are not directly in the line of like influence. Like they're kind of distant, and they'll say, well, why is everybody still marching and racism is over, and why is this, they ask those stupid ass why questions when it still exists. Because the flip side is, how many times has this happened without a cell phone? Like,
we just happened to one dumbass got a new iPhone 10.
Because the NAACP's website, they call these guys white supremacists because they were bragging about murdering this guy.
I think that fits the bill.
And the killers, the murderers, these devils they finally got arrested, but they went home. Right, because one of them is an ex-police officer, seeing blue again. One of them is an ex-police officer, and they said that they were making a citizen's arrest, and they said that he was armed and all this other shit. When the kid, 25-year-old athlete, is jogging, wearing a white T-shirt, and he's just jogging through his neighborhood, and they said that there was supposed to be some break-ins or some burglaries. So why the fuck is he the one that's burgling? Because he's black. Once again, man.
All you black people keep doing
all us black people keep doing this.
Why don't you black people quit robbing us white people?
Maybe.
And then you black people will stop dying.
And then we'll stop. Is that holy?
It's your fault that you're dying. If you could keep your fucking hands to yourself, it wouldn't be a problem anymore.
And that's what it sounds like in the media, right? Because what ends up happening is people say, yeah, they're being disrespectful to the cops, and they're not respecting the authority. You know what I mean? I'm saying, well, it's hard to respect authority if you get punched in the face.
Well, when the authority keeps shoving its fist down your throat, it's no longer a respect issue.
Man, I feel bad for his mom. Right, for his family, and like they have to continuously rewatch this shit over and over again. And I'm trying to balance like the paranoia in my life, right? Because I'm looking forward,
especially right now, because everybody's heightened. You don't know. Technically, they could pull you over, ask if you're essential,
right,
and give you shit. Where's your fucking mask?
Right.
Where the hell are your gloves? Why are you black?
Yeah, why are you black?
Like any fucking reason that they want.
Listen, the worst part is that if we're looking forward, right, we have individuals that are broke. Right, like people are not
especially
working.
now.
Yes, people are not working, and even towards as the summer progresses, like we said this before, poor people make the best thieves. Right, hungry people make the best
legit robbing for some real shit.
Right, like So what we're talking about here is the police officers are going to be on high alert in very specific neighborhoods, racially profiling these individuals
that are the most economically challenged
because it's not a white problem.
They might not have gotten their stimulus check.
Man, this is the type of shit that we're talking about, because it's almost like
I'm being facetious about the fucking stimulus check. It's $1,200. You can't buy a fucking gallon of gas and pay your rent with $1,200 in California.
I feel like we're being set up. Right, especially since we have a historic precedence of marching and protesting with this type of shit. Right, when things like this happen,
now you can't do it.
Now we can't do it, and
they have a technically legal recourse because we're in a state of emergency.
And if we're talking about the Casual Killing Act of 1669, this act was a law enacted that allowed a slave master to murder or kill his slave for running away or being disobedient as a preventative measure for the other slaves not to do this shit. Right. Listen, the point is, you can take an orange, right, and call it a gray. You can call it a purple. You can call it a fucking pink. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the name is. It's still the same fucking thing, right? So here we are, 400 years removed, right? And individuals say, why don't you guys just get over this shit? It's like, how can I get over this shit?
Well, when it stays happening, you can't get over it.
Like, I know we wanted to talk about some things that are a lot more lighthearted, but
I'm just going to jump to that because we wish you had more time.
And the worst part is, we're going to be back here. I guarantee you there's going to be some more catastrophic shit that happens in some state. If it's not our own home and our own backyard, there's going to be some more bullshit that happens during the summer.
We do have some potential sports news.
Mike Tyson.
Yeah. Like there was a little 10-second video clip
of him hitting the bags.
No, him hitting the dude with a body shield on.
Right. I'm sorry.
Mitts.
Holy shit.
And was folding that motherfucker.
You know what got me was the sound of that shit.
I know. That's what I'm trying to say.
Man, and the dude with the bodysuit on actually walked away like, man, I don't want no more of that shit. And
nobody wants any of that.
Mike is what, 53 years old, and his reflexes and reaction time. Look, I like to say I'm not afraid of any fucking 53.
Mike Tyson is not hitting me.
I'm letting Mike Tyson know that, listen, Mr. Tyson, did you grab my girl's ass? You know what? She put it out there for you to grab it. Go on and get your feel on, Mike. If we was in the club and Mike grabbed my girl's ass, I'd be like, hey, Mike, that's your ass now. That belongs to you. Mike, she's yours now, Mike.
I'm going to tell her that shit, you on your own.
I'm just saying.
I'm not catching ass.
Get it how you live. Because, like, he's talking about...
he wants to fight.
But he's talking about a charity fight, which is kind of
Still wants to fight.
Yeah, man.
Charity or not, dude wants to throw them things.
I think that, once you're in love with something...
Yeah, it's hard to let it go.
It's hard to let it go. Like, and I kind of like a charity thing than him trying to make a run at being a boxer ever again. I think he just wants to
jump in the ring and see what happens.
Man, why not? Because I don't want Mike...
I'd pay to see that shit.
I don't want Mike to fight... what's the big gypsy dude?
Oh, well, he couldn't reach his fucking face.
Yeah, I don't want Mike to fight any of those young guys. Like, no. Mike, come on, man. No. Just let's find another 53-year-old. I don't think there is another 53-year-old on the planet that won't get his head knocked off. It might be a murder. It might be a murder.
Well, if he was a cop, it would. Never mind.
Holy shit.
Anyway,
fucking man.
Listen, we haven't talked about females in a long time,
right?
And I kind of wanted to throw something your way.
Okay.
And I know it's been a very long time since you've been involved with a woman.
Yeah.
Like an exceptionally long time.
Yeah.
Like a really.
Hold on before you throw me all the way under the bus.
Like, I mean,
really? We
quarantine times 2, maybe.
Holy shit.
I don't know, maybe. But
ladies, I am single. Go ahead and slide in them DMs. I'm available.
Ask him what's wrong with him if he's single.
Great credit. I've got excellent bone structure. Yes, I do. I'm available.
But your truck isn't washed.
Yeah, my truck is dirty as shit right now.
It's not even black no more. It's gray.
It's kind of grayish.
Yeah, it's not okay.
You can put your ass on the back of my bike, though, girl.
It's a white boy bike.
Yes, you can. So right. That's right.
That is a cracker bike.
Yes, I do.
Cracker ass paint job.
Yes, I got the white boy bike.
You did.
Right. Yes, I did.
Listen, this is what I wanted to ask. Here's just a curiosity question. Just tell me if this shit has ever happened to you, because I've seen it happen over a long period of time.
All right.
I always wonder, like, when a guy and a girl have a disagreement or an argument or a discussion about things, right? And the dude is wrong, okay? He ends up apologizing, right? Like, babe, I'm sorry, like I was out of line, or I raised my voice, or I spoke to you maybe wrong, or some shit like that. And she's always like, really? Okay, cool. Whatever. And he's like, babe, like, I'm sorry. Like, listen, don't be mad, honey. Don't be mad. Don't be pissed off. Come on. Okay. I've had this conversation many, many, many times.
A few times.
Yeah. A few times.
Yeah.
And then I started wondering, in the transverse.
Right.
Okay. What happens when the female says the equivalent of something that's offensive to the man,
right?
And then he becomes indignant, irritated, upset, frustrated, whatever, right? And is standoffish about it. And then she's like, well, fuck it then, if you're going to be an asshole about the whole thing, or have some sort of negative response. And he's like, wait a minute, when it's my fault, I'd say I'm sorry.
Right.
And I got to kiss your ass a little bit. And when it's your fault, you're like, whatever then.
So
why? Why is that?
I think it's because it's the way people are taught to deal with conflict, right? And this is a guy thing and a girl thing. Because if a dude acts like this, we say, oh, he's acting like a bitch, right? Because sometimes a guy will apologize just to get her to shut the fuck up.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I get that.
Right.
Okay, but I'm just, my question is not when he's telling her the shut the fuck up apology. Like, bitch, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not talking about that apology.
Bitch, I'm sorry.
Whatever, ho. I said I'm sorry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the legit, like, listen, I'm sorry I was out of line. If I spoke up or raised my voice or whatever the deal is, right? But again, when it's the female's time to apologize, usually, not always, but usually the response is aloof.
Right. So
slightly disingenuous.
But we're talking about an argument or a heated conversation that comes with an agenda, right? Is she arguing to be heard, right? Or is she arguing to fix the problem, right? Because sometimes people are just talking just to be fucking talking, right? I need to get this off of my chest, right? And sometimes people are actually talking to come to some type of resolution. So it really depends on what the agenda is. Like,
I feel like men have those conversations because we want to have a resolution.
See, I mean, don't get me wrong. I agree with you, but I think that's the bias that comes from me having balls, because I know that women have the capacity to do that also. And I have had conversations. I was raised by a strong black woman, and I understand that is irregardless of gender. But the difference is I think that we run into this issue is because a lot of times, like even society itself it tells women not to be outspoken and not necessarily to be as strong.
But by not speaking, that's still being outspoken.
Right, but what happens is when she finally gets that opportunity to let somebody have it, it might just be your ass.
Okay, then I guess.
All that passive aggressive shit, right?
I said I'm sorry.
All right, I'm just saying. So, ladies.
No, I'm fine.
I'm fine. Oh, yeah, I'm fine, right?
My fucking favorite thing of all time. It is what it is. If you don't fucking shut up with that is what it is.
It's like, okay, bitch.
What does that even mean? It is what it is.
You know,
a job's a job.
You know what I actually have a problem with, right? Is when these women want us to read their minds. Right? Like they say one thing and want something else when we just literally said, what is it? I don't want nothing. Okay, bitch, I'm going to give you nothing. Right? And then you go in the room and play Call of Duty. I can't believe you don't want to talk to me about this. I was like, bitch, you said you didn't want anything. I just took this as an opportunity to play some 2K.
You should have known by my tone.
Oh my God. Look, man, can we just get right to it? Right? But once again, it's how we were taught to communicate, because I know there's a whole bunch of dudes that do the same shit, that speak in the same manner. And
I don't even mean to imply that the man is right or wrong in the situation. Like, I'm just saying, like, I noticed that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes the I'm sorry from the masculine side is much more genuine initially than I'm sorry from the feminine side. Right. The feminine side is, no, I said I'm sorry.
Yeah, but sometimes our sorry, it was like, okay, you can shut the fuck up now. Okay, like I apologize, so stop talking to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, especially when
that's
you get
just you. See, I am a very, very in touch and sensitive male who likes to have conversations about communication.
If you want to know the truth, I've only had one raise my voice argument with one woman my entire life. I've never had that argument. Like, never ever had that argument. Like, I've never done that before.
I never have to raise my voice because I usually choke the shit out of him before we get there.
And when you have your hands around her neck, she can't talk anyway. Nah. So if she can't talk, she's automatically listening. You gonna listen now, huh, bitch? You gonna listen now? You hear what the fuck I'm saying?
If you hear me, let the eyes roll to the back of your head.
That's awesome.
Good. Now you're listening.
I hope this shit doesn't ever end up being played back with you holding that fucking thing like, yeah, I choked that bitch.
In all fairness, it has always been a consensual choking.
Consensual choking.
Yes.
She
I have videos.
Videos. Oh, that's right. That's right.
Videos.
You do have those contingencies in place.
Oh yes.
As you should.
Oh yes. They happen to be on my OnlyFans actually. So feel free to find me on OnlyFans /Derrick Spears.
I don't have an OnlyFans. What the fuck would I do on my OnlyFans?
Sit in your room alone.
Sit in my room alone and write lesson plans.
All right,
sexy,
guys.
Huh?
Thank you guys for joining us tonight. Listen to the Scholar Center Show. I'm Derrick Pierce.
I am Kip the Barber Beefcake.
Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like the show, subscribe, click the button, fact check the shit out of us, and watch me not give a fuck. But I will read it.
Watch me not give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, all.
But I want you to fact check it. Fact check that shit.
Yeah, please. It shows engagement. So, hey, love.
Yeah.